So we did a recent Insta Live on reading and writing in the Montessori way, and that sparked a lot of questions and a lot of interest. So we thought it would be a good idea to do a series of short videos on the progression of language as we see it in Montessori. So this is going to be the first of one such series, and today in this video we're going to be focusing on spoken language with special interest on spoken language, because this is the bedrock, this is the foundation of anything that you want to achieve with regards to reading and writing, right? So the child having a very rich vocabulary is one of the key asks, and I'm going to quickly walk you through the progression of language, spoken language. So when a child is born, right, it's a lot of initially it's just crying for fundamental needs, and after that it moves into babbling and making cooing noises. So right from there, it's a cue for you to start practicing the serve and return. What we mean by that is to be able to, when the child is cooing to you, you wait, you pause, and then you say something back to the child, right? It's called the serve and return. So as you say something back, then the child says something back to you. It could be just babbling, it could be just thing, and then you are interestedly, with a lot of interest, you're focused on the child, and the child is watching your lip movement very closely, because it is then picking up the nuances of spoken language. So keeping that in mind, a lot of vocabulary can start right from birth, right? And I'm going to also tell you about a few milestones that that we typically see in child development, right? And these are numbers that are not meant to be taken as absolute numbers. These are numbers that are a range. It's always a range in development. So just keep in mind that some children do certain things earlier and some children do certain things later, and there's no need to hit the panic button right away, unless of course you feel that an intervention is necessary. Yeah. So when I'm saying these numbers, just please keep that in mind. So typically around 1 year of age, children start saying single words. Before that, mama, dada, and those kinds of things come up. But things like water, give, me, and those kinds of things start typically at 1 year of age. Then by the time they're about 18 months or so, it moves to short phrases and small sentences. Yeah. So and after about 18 months, about 2.5 years, typically full sentences are formed. The child is able to communicate actively what he or she wants. Then at about 3.5 is when they start to shed those, talking about themselves in third person. A lot of the possessive pronouns start coming in, which is basically saying I, me, and those kinds of things. You'll start noticing that shift around that time. And then by the time the child is 5, the child has a full, complete gamut of vocabulary and is a functioning member of the household and can belong, in that family unit as a contributing member with a full gamut of language. Yeah. So this is typically the range. And I would like to reiterate that spoken language is truly the bedrock. So the more you speak, and the idea of today's video is also to give you the kinds of things you can speak to with the child. So, for example, as an infant, like I said, you want to be able to share your daily stories, read to the child. Reading to the child is another very, very key aspect, right? So it's not only spoken language, but the child should also hear, a language that is read to, right? So that also should be a part of the child's life from very, very early on. When we talk about oral language, right, and there is no taboo on what you can say to the child and what you can't, right? So as soon as the child has a reasonable vocabulary and is able to ask for things and do things, if you look around your own house, you'll see so many things that are in your house that have so many names of parts. So names of parts is a very, very easy thing to just sit down, and it doesn't have to be a lesson, it can be a very casual conversation. For example, I have scissors here, right? Something as simple as a scissors has parts that it's actually good for us to know, and I believe that what stops us from enriching the child's vocabulary is our lack of these words. Like I didn't know till I did my Montessori course that everything that human has made has parts. Like if you take a scissors, for example, this would be called the finger ring. Yeah. And so you can tell the child this is the finger ring, and that's where our finger goes in, right? This part, the part because of which the scissors move, is called the pivot. This is called the pivot. And this part, which actually cuts whatever object you have, is called the inner blade. And this part, the bottom, is called the tip. So just a simple scissors has so many parts, right? And if you think about it, a mug has a lip, has a bottom, has a spout, has a handle, right? Anything and everything has many these are all conversation starters, right? And art at your home, you can sit down and say, you know what, when I went to Turkey, I picked it up, and Turkey is in Istanbul, and so there's just no limit to how much conversation you can have with a child. Because what we notice in our experience is that adults tend to water down language for the child. They seem to they seem to think that the child should not be exposed to rich vocabulary. So they'll call a dog something else, or they will say, they'll look at a boo-boo and they'll say bruise, and they'll call it boo-boo. We are encouraging you to call it a bruise, to even in fact go to little more complicated words like, I see that you have a splinter, or you have a laceration, and things like that, right? You may think that it's too much for the child to comprehend, but remember, language is perceived as a whole, right? It's not something that it just it's not something that has to be taught to a child. The child picks up spoken language on their own. So they put things in context, and they're able to understand what a laceration is. They're able to understand what a bruise is. Yeah. So I thought we'll end today's video with a quick game that we play in the classroom all the time, and can easily be played at home, very easily. So if you have a tray, a nice fancy tray would help, because the idea is to really enthuse the child to work with something. So the fancier the things are, the beautiful it is. It gives you a talking point, again, to enrich the vocabulary, and also enthuses the child to make it look like it's something special. So if you have a nice tray, just take that tray and take the child with you and say, let's play a game today. For this game, we are going to need things from around the environment. So I just went around in the classroom and picked a few things that are available at home for the most part, things that are easily available at home. And I've chosen to use this chest. So I'd start the game with something like, guess what? I have a lot of things in this exciting chest. This chest was bought to me, was actually a gift to me, and it was given by my friend who had visited Turkey, and she brought it back from Turkey. Yeah, do you see all of this? Do you see the kind of work? In some places it's also called the trunk. Do you want to see what is inside this trunk? Yeah, there's lots of exciting things for you. Open this. I see that we have a cup, and you want to enunciate the initial sounds, because that's what you're doing with the child here. Yeah. This is a scissors. Bangle. Cookie. This is a cookie. Pencil. Yeah, that's your favorite pink color. Here I have a pin. This is a goat. Yeah. I took it from the toy chest. And here is a fox. Yeah. Fox. Pin, bangle, fox, scissors, cup, pencil, cookie, goat. And then you can start playing this game and say, I spy something with my eye that begins with a. And then you know that if your child comes and picks up the fox, that it's an indication to you that the child understands what's the initial sound. Then you go on to say, I spy something with my eye that begins with a B, and then the child picks up a bangle. Yeah. So, and you would do this with all of the objects. And I've intentionally put in two things that begins with a K, the cup and the cookie, and pin and the pencil, right? So when I say P, the child could go for either or go for both, right? So that is again an indication that if the child is going for both, then they clearly have got the idea of initial sounds out, right? And if they're not and they're going for one, that's okay. You're just going to go keep playing this game again and again till you know that the child has a good solid understanding of sound games. And yeah, so that sort of brings us to the end of this video.